So very quickly, I'm Johnny. If I haven't met you before, do come talk to me. I love to talk to people. Yeah, so basically, I'm a cloud engineer. So, but I'm also a trainer. So, and these days I'm doing a lot of Go and serverless training, onboarding teams, helping them adopt the serverless way. So, just to quickly plug in my time here, I run the Baltimore Go user group. So, we meet on the first Tuesday of every month. So, if you're interested in Go, please come see me. All right, and also shameless plug, buy my stuff. All right, let's flip to the goodie. So, what I'm going to show you real quick. If you know me, you know I'm very light on slides. I tend to do a lot of showing and not a lot of telling. So in my work as a consultant and sort of somebody who's onboarding teams into basically the serverless way, I'm doing a lot of sort of exposing teams to, in part, the Well-Architected Framework. But even if they are familiar with that that framework and what it entails and what it means, when it comes to the serverless stuff, it's still sort of well, how does this apply? Thankfully, AWS has done a lot of the heavy lifting for me to basically say, okay, well, of the Well-Architected Framework, these are the things that apply specifically to serverless. So that I'm going to do my best to sort of get through as much of that as possible. I'm telling you now, it's possible to get through all that stuff in this short of time. But when I sit down with a developer from those teams, basically to say, hey, these are the concerns you should have. These are the things I'm hitting on. So first of all, some design principles. So you want to focus on speedy, small, short, concise functions, right? You're not building a monolith, right? You can't have you have one thing doing everything. You have to focus about doing one thing very, very small. So usually, we usually go through a few iterations to figure out how small is small, but basically trying to do one thing very well. So that's the first thing. For scalability, you have to worry about concurrent requests. So don't think that you have basically a whole lot of state to manage. You basically ideally it's stateless. You share nothing, and basically that plays into your design approach for dealing with these sort of highly concurrent systems. So I've already talked about sharing nothing. So put state in persistent storage. You don't get to keep the box that your function runs on once it's run. It's ephemeral, it goes away. So if you need to keep state, put in S3, put in DynamoDB or some sort of RDBMS system, but you can't keep state in there. No hardware affinity. So if you're worried about CPU flags or anything like that, that's out. So orchestration, do that with state functions. Do not have lambdas calling out the lambdas. That's an any pattern. Use step functions. Use events to trigger things. So, for example, an object gets dropped into an S3 bucket, you react. Something gets put into an SQ, you react. Design for failure. So that, again, the SQ scenario, assume that you'll see the same message multiple times. Have your system be idempotent so that it can react to appropriately to that incoming event. All right, that covers the design principles. How am I doing on time? I'm already out of time. Oh my God. All right, I'll go for one more minute. So quickly for focus areas. So AWS has a lot of services. So here are the ones you need to worry about if you're doing serverless work. So obviously Lambda, API gateway, huge. It used to be kind of in the beginning, but now it's the real deal. Use it. It even supports WebSocket. Recently announced at reInvent. So step functions, like no brainer. If you need to do orchestration between the multiple Lambda functions, use step functions. Don't fight it. Data layer. So basically, you have a lot of options here, but use DynamoDB. You want something that can handle the request response model. I'm starting to think that using a traditional RDBMS, traditional database system in a serverless world is an any pattern. Use something that can support the quick HTTP request response. That's DynamoDB. So S3, your best friend here too. Elasticsearch. You're going to find uses for it. DynamoDB, you shouldn't use that to search. You're going to be basically scanning your entire table. That's very bad for your costs. So if you need searching on your data, use Elasticsearch. Not to say that DynamoDB doesn't have that capabilities, but it's not like your typical relational database system. Be very aware of that. AppSync. If you're dealing with applications that basically need sort of real-time communication back and forth, use AppSync. It's basically provided GraphQL layer and sort of a real-time mechanism for exchanging data with front-end applications. Use it and love it. So messaging and streaming. So you've got things like Kinesis, your best friend. If you're familiar with Kafka, you should be familiar with Kinesis. Simple notification service, SNS, an oldie but goodie. Use it often. Again, you can use it in conjunction with SQS as well. So user management, Cognito, love it. with systems monitoring, CloudWatch, again, your best friend. If you're shipping your logs somewhere else, like Datadog, whatever it is, that's fine too. But learn to love your logs. That's where you're going to get all of the details of what your serverless system does. X-Ray, again, one of my favorite services in Amazon. Use it. But the moment you get into the serverless world, you enter the land of distributed systems. If you don't know what that means, it is painful to debug across multiple services when your request has to traverse through a bunch of different things. Distributed tracing, learn to love it. Learn to love X-Ray. Serverless application model, SAM. So if you're not doing infrastructure as code, you're doing it wrong. Don't do scripts on the side that nobody knows about. Put that stuff into CloudFormation, and by extension, use the serverless application model, which is an extension of the CloudFormation templating system. So, all right. Edge layer. Somebody talked about Edge. I'm not going to talk about that again. So CloudFront is your friend. Deployment approaches. So this one's a good one. This one's a good one. All at once is cool if you're in development, right? If you're in your machine, you want to swap things, good. If you're in production, don't do that. Anti-pattern, right? Use blue-green, use traffic shifting. Route 53 has great support for traffic shifting. It'll even do it geographically for you. I mean, there's lots and lots of goodies there. If you're into, the AWS is tooling for code deploy, code build, whatever, they have pipeline, they have integration that basically there's enough there to help you do the right thing. Adopt the blue-green approach if you're doing production deployments. So Lambda has version control. It has things like tagging, aliasing, whatever it is. Even API Gateway has a concept of stages. Do not use these things for your stages as in development, production, QA. That's not what those are for. Do not use those for that kind of thing. If you want to have those, use separate AWS accounts. It's okay to have multiple AWS accounts. People do it all the time. Nothing happens to you if you do that. Okay, it's fine. Adopt that. So, if I go anymore, I'll probably really run out of time. So I'm going to stop now. If you want, we have more questions, talk to me afterwards.